Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It is still in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a 2014 model year 300-piece limited edition in grade 5 titanium. This is the Bremont Supermarine TerraNova, a GMT dedicated to explorer Ben Saunders and his party, who in 2013 hiked approximately 1,450 kilometers to and from the South Pole, while pulling all of their supplies themselves on sleds. If that sounds horrendous, yes, it is. The good news is it's already been done for you, and you get to enjoy the watch. So, what we have here, 43 millimeters in diameter, 16.4 millimeters thick, 50.8 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, and the spacing between the lugs is 22 millimeters. The Supermarine collection is a collection of dive watches and highly water-resistant watches named after a company which during the 1930s in Britain was famous for building speed record seaplanes and later the famed Supermarine Spitfire that helped to fight during World War II against the Blitz. The watch on my wrist is very modern. There's nothing anachronistic or vintagey about it. It is a timepiece that fills my wrist but does not overwhelm it. So I believe if your wrist is my size, 16 centimeters circumference and up, it's going to wear well. Now the watch is made mostly of rubber, sapphire, and titanium, so it's very light. It is not thin, and you can see that it's sheer in profile, so it will get hung up on most cuffs, but a jacket should be okay, just not a tight dress sleeve. Taking a look down the barrel, you can see it's not outboard of my wrist. The lugs are not overlapping. The strap, however, is integrated, which means it doesn't have total flexibility. So you can see there's a little bit of flare and fight there. So again, this is why I say a 16 and not 15 centimeter circumference wrist is the lower limit for wearing this watch. Strap has some striations molded in to give it a little bit of definition. You can see that it thins out a bit as it moves away from the case. On the bottom, still more striations, a brand new Bremont factory strap, no crimping, no gouging. All of this matched to a buckle that features the company logo externally. Nick and Giles English, the founders of this British watch company, they're both English and named English. They are aviators, and the name of the company stems from an experience landing their vintage aircraft in the field of a French farmer, and it was an emergency landing. They were so grateful for his subsequent hospitality that they named the company after him. So technically it's Bremont, but because it is an English language brand, they call it Bremont. We have a double deployment clasp, twin trigger release. You could see here, robust, thick gauge. None of this is going to give up the ghost. And then we've got a feature that ensures this watch stays resolutely put. We have a little buckle that will actually crimp the strap and lock it into place once you feed it through and get the proper sizing. So there's no chance of the strap pulling through and causing the watch to free fall. And again, twin trigger release means you must press both triggers to open up this clasp in the first place. It is not going to open due to inertia or violence on the wrist. The case, well, this is what Bremont calls its triptych case design. So you have a couple of different components, and you can see that the case that holds the movement and the dial is sort of physically separate from the lugs, and this does help it from an ergonomic standpoint. It's black DLC for tonal contrast across the center, and it is quite resilient against scratching because of that DLC. The rest of this is grade 5 titanium. And grade 5 tie is nice because it's hypoallergenic and light like grade 2, but unlike grade 2, it's also more scratch resistant than steel. So this is lighter than steel and more scratch resistant. We have polished elements that loop around the edge of the lugs. You know when you're looking at polished tie that it's the grade 5 stuff because you can't polish grade 2. We have a removable crown guard structure, so if it does get gouged, it can be replaced during service, and an off-centered crown designed to make this watch ambidextrous so it won't dig into your wrist regardless of which side you wear it. Now we have a helium escape valve, and the watch is water resistant to a superb degree. You can see on the back 500 meters. Now it's not a diver strictly speaking because it does have a double directional compass rose style bezel, but it is absolutely swimmable at depths that would normally exclude all but dive watches. We'll do a quick loom shot so you can see the watch in the dark. And you can see not only do we have all four hands, both hours, the minutes, and the seconds luminescent, but we also have the bezel luminescent. Now, depending on whether you're in the northern or southern hemisphere, there are various tricks you can play with the bezel and the hour hand to judge the position of true north, or for that matter, true south. So from an explorer's standpoint, if you have the sun shining, you can use this watch to gauge your bearings and direction. Now you can see, like something along the lines of a Blancpain 50 fathoms, this bezel can be fully lumed because the LumiNova is protected under a circumferential sapphire. It actually protects the bezel from scratching, and it is more scratch resistant than a ceramic cap. Again, we have the Bremont propeller on the crown, a couple of different setting modes here. Screw the crown out. Now you can see I have the ability to adjust the 24-hour hand, which is my independent second time zone. The watch is still keeping time. I have not hacked it in this mode, turning in the opposite direction. I also have a quick set for the date. Now pull the crown out. That hacks the seconds. Everything stops. Now you can set the watch precisely against a known accurate reference time. Take a look at the center of the dial. You can see there's a geosphere pattern designed to evoke daring do around the world by outdoor explorers. And we have applique indices to give the watch a nice upscale look. These are not printed dial features. On the flange of the dial, you can see a 24-hour track for reading that second time zone. There's a piano key style minutes and seconds tracking board around the center. And you can see London because this watch is assembled in the greater London area, so it is a British-made watch. On the reverse, you can see there and back individual numbering in the series of 300. On the back here, we have Sat Nation, we have Media Blast, and we have Polish. There and back, because after all, poor Mr. Saunders and his companion did hike to and from the South Pole. Again, over 1,400 kilometers hiked. Not an easy thing. In fact, it's actually a lot worse than that because 1,450, I believe, was the distance to the pole and then back. So in miles, this was actually 1,800 miles hiked there and back, and an unfathomable 2,900 kilometers hiked there and back. That's a lot of hiking anywhere. In frigid cold, pulling a sleigh, I can't imagine it was fun. But he did get a watch in his name, so maybe it was worth it. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on here that is separate from the movement. There's a lot of proprietary Bremont technology. First, anti-shock. There are rubber bumpers that separate the movement from the case itself, so it is quite shock resilient with the movement itself suspended from the exterior case. That's great. We also have anti-magnetic qualities here to well over 1,000 Gauss, so it is beyond 1000 Gauss. That's ideal if you are near the magnetic poles. And then it is a certified chronometer. The movement is Swiss. It's a ETA 28932, which is the dual-time version of the 2892. Bidirectional automatic winding, 42-hour power reserve, 4 Hz beat rate, 5 position adjusted, COSC Swiss chronometer. We've got the quick set, and of course we have the hacking seconds to set it against a reference time when we need it. Also, fun fact, this watch, or at least this model, was worn by Ben Saunders and his party, so it actually survived that arduous near 3,000 kilometer hike. The more you know. This watch, available on our website. Reach out to me. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.